He was drowning and I tried to save him until I started sinking too. I found out from a mutual friend, not even someone close. Just a guy the first knew from college who still followed all of us on social media and dropped random updates like it was still normal to ask about people you had not seen in years. He said, "Have you heard from Tyler lately? I think something is going on with him." I just replied, "No, why?" And then he sent me a screenshot. A blurry Instagram story. Black screen, white text. It said, "Some days it is just noise and silence and you cannot tell which is worse." There was no context, no follow-up. But I felt it, like a cold tap on the back of my neck. Tyler and I had been friends for over 15 years. He was the kind of person who could walk into a dead room and fill it with life before you knew what happened. He was funny without trying. He had this weird confidence that made you feel safer just being near him. We had not talked much lately. Life happened. I got married, had a kid, started working 12-hour days. He changed cities, switched jobs. We still liked each other's posts and sent memes once in a while. But real connection? That had faded. Still, I could not ignore the feeling. I messaged him. "Hey man, been a minute, you good?" He replied 3 hours later. "Yeah, just tired. Work stuff, appreciate it though." I stared at the message for a long time. It was fine. Normal. Except it felt completely wrong. So I asked if he wanted to meet up. He said sure. We picked a diner halfway between us. When I got there, he was already sitting by the window. He looked older. Not in the age way, just worn down. His beard was messy, his eyes were red. He smiled when he saw me, but it did not reach anything. We talked. Mostly surface stuff. Sports. Old stories. He said he lost his job a few months ago. Said it was politics. I asked how he was holding up. He just shrugged. Said he was figuring things out. Said it was not the first time life hit him sideways. That used to be his line. But this time it sounded like someone reading it off a script. He paid for his coffee in crumpled bills. I offered to cover it. He waved me off, said, "I got it. I am not a charity case." I said nothing, just nodded. That night, I could not sleep. I kept thinking about how hollow he looked, like he was fading out one invisible inch at a time. I talked to my wife, Mia, told her I was worried. She said, "Maybe he just needs time. Or maybe you should check on him more." So I did. I started texting more often, sending articles, jokes, anything that felt like a thread to keep us connected. Sometimes he responded. Sometimes he did not. I told myself it was okay, that maybe just knowing someone still gave a damn was enough. But something in my gut said no. Something in me whispered, he is slipping. And I did not know how to hold on to him without letting go of myself. The visits started small. I would drop by once a week with coffee or groceries and pretend like it was nothing, like I just happened to be in the area. Tyler never said no, but he also never looked happy to see me. He let me in, sat on the couch, barely spoke. The apartment smelled like laundry that never got folded, and food that never made it past the microwave. The blinds were always half closed, the light always dim. I offered to help clean once. He said, "I am not dead yet." I laughed awkwardly and let it go. I told Mia I was worried. She said, "He is lucky to have you, but do not lose yourself in someone else's fire." I nodded like I understood, but I kept showing up. I started picking up his prescriptions. He had stopped going to therapy, said he could not afford it. I paid his electric bill once when I saw a shut-off notice. He found out and got pissed. Said I was crossing a line. I said, "I just did not want you sitting in the dark." He did not thank me, just said, "Do not do that again." I told myself it was pride, that he was still trying to hold on to the last bit of control he had. But part of me started to resent it. The silence. The resistance. The way every good thing I did got treated like an intrusion. At work, I was missing deadlines. I would stare at spreadsheets and think about whether Tyler had eaten that day. At night, I lay awake wondering if he was drinking alone or worse. I started checking my phone every hour. Just in case. Mia noticed. One night she said, "I know you want to help him, but this is bleeding into everything, into us." I said, "What do you want me to do? Pretend he is not drowning?" She said, "No, I want you to stop tying a rope around your own neck while trying to throw him a lifeline." I got defensive, told her she did not get it, that I owed him this, that if I gave up he might disappear for real. She said, "What if he already has?" That one stayed with me. I did not say anything for 2 days. Just kept going through the motions, kept checking on him, kept answering texts that made no sense and returning missed calls at 2 in the morning where all I heard was silence and breathing. Then one Sunday I found him passed out on the floor. The door was unlocked. I had stopped by unannounced with food. He was lying there in a t-shirt stained with something I did not want to identify. The living room smelled like old beer and something sharp beneath it. I shook him awake. He blinked like he did not know where he was. Said, "I am fine, just tired." I asked if he needed a hospital. He laughed, Said you need to relax, this is normal. That word hit me hard. Normal. Like collapsing under your own weight was just another Tuesday. I went home shaking. Told Mia everything. She did not yell. She just looked at me with those tired eyes people get when they have been patient too long. She said, "You have to choose. Him or your sanity, because this in-between is killing both." That night I sat in the car outside Tyler's building and cried for the first time in years. Not just because I could not save him, because I was starting to forget what it felt like to save myself. I opened my phone and typed out a message, then deleted it, then typed it again. Finally, I just wrote, "I love you, man, but I cannot carry this alone. If you ever want to meet me in the middle, I will be here. But I cannot keep walking into your storm hoping not to drown." I hit send, put the phone face down, went home. Mia was asleep. I lay down beside her and for once let the silence feel like a boundary instead of a failure. He did not reply. Not that day. Not the next. I checked my phone too many times, watched that little empty space where the typing bubble never showed up. I kept telling myself maybe he needed time, maybe he was mad, maybe he was passed out again, maybe he read it and hated me. I imagined all of it. Every version. And then I imagined nothing. Just quiet. Like maybe I was the only one still holding the thread. A week passed. Then 2. The weight began to shift. It was not gone, but it was different. Less urgent. Like I had taken off a soaked jacket and could finally feel my own skin again. Mia started smiling more. Not big, not loud. Just longer. I started sleeping through the night. At work, I met deadlines again. Not because I stopped caring, but because I had finally stopped bleeding into someone else's chaos. One afternoon, I sat at a cafe alone with a notebook open and no reason to be anywhere else. It felt strange, not joyful, just unfamiliar, like remembering your own name after months of answering to someone else's pain. That night I dreamed I was carrying a body up a hill, and halfway through I looked down and realized it was empty. Just clothes, no weight. I woke up in sweat and relief. Then, 3 weeks after the message, I got a voicemail. No call, just a recording. It was Tyler. His voice was thin, slurred but slower. He said, "I got your message. I get it. I am sorry I made you feel like it was your job. It was not. I am not mad, just tired. I do not know what to say." That was it. No questions, no promises, just a tired man with no lies left in him. I saved the message, did not reply. I needed more time. I started going on long walks, no music, no podcasts, just wind and gravel. It helped. I started therapy, told the truth for the first time in months. That I had gotten so used to taking care of other people that I did not notice when I stopped being a person myself. My therapist said something that stuck. She said some people will drown even while you are holding them above water. Not because they want to, because they are too exhausted to care that you are sinking too. I wrote that down, looked at it every day for a week. I still thought about Tyler. Every day. I still checked his page. He had not posted. No stories, no activity. But he was alive. That was enough. One evening I came home and found Mia on the back porch reading. She looked up and said, "You seem lighter." I said, "I think I am learning how to stand without bracing for the fall." She smiled, said, "I miss this version of you." I said, "Me too." And I meant it. Not the old me. The quiet one I had just started becoming. The one who knew how to care without collapsing. The one who finally understood that love without limits is not kindness. It is self-erasure. That night I slept soundly. No dreams, no guilt, just stillness. And for once, it felt earned. Months passed. The air turned colder. Trees stripped down to the bone. I still thought about him, but not with panic. More like memory. Something that lived behind the ribs but stopped shaking the walls. I would check in sometimes. Quietly. A message every few weeks. Nothing heavy. Just a thinking of you. Or, hope today is kind. Sometimes he replied. Sometimes he did not. I stopped expecting anything. That helped. One afternoon in January, I got a text. It was short. No punctuation, just, I checked into a place, do not know how long. But I wanted you to know. I sat with that for a long time. I did not reply right away. I wanted to. But I waited, gave it space. The next day, I wrote, "I am proud of you. No matter what happens next, that step counts." He wrote back a heart. That was all. I showed Mia. She put her hand on my shoulder and said, "Maybe this time he wants it." I nodded. I hoped she was right. A few weeks later, he called. His voice was clearer. Not perfect, but steadier. He said, "It is hard. Some days I want to quit. But I think about that message. The one you sent. The one where you said you would be there but not drowning with me. That stuck. No one ever said that to me before." I told him, it was the truth. "I love you, but I had to stop trying to save someone who would not reach back." He said, "I know. And I do not blame you. I would have left me too." That hurt in a quiet way. But I understood. We talked for a while. Nothing heavy. Just two people remembering what it felt like to talk without weight. When we hung up, I felt something shift. Not closure. That word is too neat. Just space. Clean space. The kind you can finally breathe in. I kept living. I stopped defining my days by someone else's storms. I laughed more. Held Mia longer. Went to therapy even after things got better, because better is not the same as healed. I learned how to sit with discomfort without turning it into duty. I learned that compassion without boundaries becomes self-destruction dressed up as virtue. Tyler and I talk now. Not every day. Not even every week. But when we do, it is real. No performance. No pretending, just the soft honesty that only comes after everything fake has burned away. He is still in recovery. Still rebuilding. I do not ask for details. I do not track progress. I just stay near without stepping in. I told him once, I am not your fixer. I am your friend. And sometimes friendship means sitting across the room and letting someone sweat through it on their own. He said, that is the only kind that feels real now. The last time we met up, we sat in a park with coffee. He looked tired, but present. He said, I used to think people who backed off were selfish, but now I think they just did not know how to carry someone who refused to walk. I said, sometimes stepping away is the most loving thing you can do. He nodded, said, I know, you were the first one to show me that. We finished our coffee in silence. Not awkward. Just enough. On the way home, I realized I was no longer afraid to lose him. Because I was no longer afraid to lose myself, and that, more than anything, is what saved us both. Not rescue, not control, just honesty, and distance, and love that finally learned how to let go.